Ladies and gentlemen, hello. In yesterday's video, I successfully unlocked that I'm pretty okay at taking a bundle of emotionality and expanding it out and seeing what happens with it and working with it and transforming it into other things. It's what I do in my videos, and it works out pretty good. It's what sets me apart from all of the other creators. Today, I had a big bundle of emotionality which took place that I did not manipulate. I got really lost in it. I fell down a rabbit hole. And interestingly, I was going to get into VR and film more or less what I'm filming now, but then the rabbit hole happened, and 4 hours were gone, and I had plans of filming this. I only now recognize that I could have theoretically taken that bundle of emotionality and manipulated it in a video, which is what I do anyway. It's what sets me apart from my peers, and it's what will set me apart and does set me apart from a lot of the people in the real world. It's the only skill I really have. So I want to talk about the thing that happened today, why it upset me so much, and some of the emotions that were involved there. And at the end of this video, I want to theorize if I had approached earlier that same bundle of emotionality, what kind of video might that have made? It might have made a series of videos, the way that there's been a series of videos already. I'm excited to take what we learned from yesterday's video, which was primed from the other videos before it, to put all of that knowledge here and see what might have happened if I had taken different steps to handle the emotionality which did take place. Let's get to it. Up first, it's just got to be story time, because 4 hours ago, that's an eternity. Actually, it was like 5 hours ago, because I've been filming for about an hour and a half, actually. Almost 2 hours. Which means we're actually good on target for this filming session. I like about 2 hours of filming, which is neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is about 5 or 6 hours ago recently. But problem is that there was a problem today. It took place after I was packaging something, which we talked about already. And then something silly occurred. So we're going to talk about the silly thing that occurred about 6 hours ago. And then how it affected everything that happened since. So story time for a little bit. Story time then. I'm actually pretty excited about this one because it's so stupid, and I knew how stupid it was, and so I needed to tell the story, and then everyone will know, like, oh my gosh, Phineas, that's so stupid, but oh, that's relatable, because apparently I'm relatable sometimes, which is horrible news, but here we go. Because as I've been saying, I had to drop off a package, which was just like a whole ordeal, multi-day ordeal, and the fish is aware of that. And one of the other things that I had to do today was go to the nearby grocery, reduced discount store or whatever, and figure out about getting some affordable energy drinks, because I went through the last case that the fish purchased for me, and so I needed just more, and he said he'd reimburse me for them because he wanted them to be a special treat, but we live 2,000 miles apart, and it's just cheaper if I buy them locally, and then he reimburses me, and it's like, well, it came from me, instead of if he just buys and sends them to me, it's more expensive that way. So that's one of the errands I had to tackle today, which I did after shipping the package of Destiny, which I talked about in the previous video. So the story will help a little bit if we just background it with I was emotionally heightened, but I usually am. There's usually something going on. I was just heightened a little bit today. Not that big of a deal, but I went to the grocery store and I got those drinks. I got a whole bunch, and so I told the fish how much it was and just kind of how the day had been going so far. And I was happy the package was done, and then I had gotten all of those drinks. It was about $18 worth of, it was $18, it was 18 cans at $1 each, which was actually a really good price. And then the fish, true to his word, and as gentle and polite and excellent as he is, reimbursed me for $25. So it was like he had surprised me with a big old case of just cheap energy drinks, and then a little bit extra. And then he said in the note, go buy yourself a fancy drink, kitten. Which is just a really sweet little name. Problem is, my head went nuts with that. Because I had just finished up shopping and doing a big errand before that even. And I was ready to be done doing things because I'm on my bicycle, so errands are kind of hard for me. And then to go get myself a coffee looks like, well, I have to get on the bicycle, carry it downstairs, go, and I don't have a good way to bring a coffee back home because I'm on bicycle. I don't even have a thermos or anything like that, which I should. So the answer would be to go out to a coffee shop and do some things, which I almost did today because there's some really cool Resonite stuff that I want to do, which I might get to later depending on how I feel after filming this, but I know what I want to work on finally, and I feel silly about it, but I could totally prototype that out and just organize stuff I could go to a coffee shop is what I'm saying, and that's probably how I would have handled the experience if I had noticed before getting home that he had given me extra money to like go get a special coffee. So the problem became this. In the real world, if we had a relationship where we did not live 2,000 miles apart, he would have surprised me with a coffee. Or if I was not in a position to get a coffee, then he would have like brought one home for me as a treat for like the big day that I had where I was tackling a big emotional problem, and he wanted to just like give me a little boost, and so he gave me a little bit extra coffee money, and I wasn't in a place to be able to go get that. But if we were lived nearby, which we just don't right now, he would have just been able to, and it would have been super sweet and super cute and a nice way to take care of me. And in that moment, it felt like, and this is projection too, I'm Captain Projection, it's pretty rough, but I projected onto him that he wanted to take care of me, but because we live 2,000 miles apart, I have to take care of myself in his honor. And where I was not in a position where I was planning on going out to get a fancy coffee, then I was not enabling him to take care of me in the way that he would have if we had a normal close by relationship, and my head was just running all sorts of gymnastics. It was insane. Some of what's going on there is we have a protocol. When I fall down a little hole like that I can reach out to him, because he's really good at saying, hey, it's not a big deal, sweetheart. And then when I did finally reach out, he said, get this, it's not a big deal, sweetheart. And then, wouldn't you know it, I've learned that it wasn't a big deal. But I didn't reach out right away. Because by the time I'm freaking out because he sent me $7 extra to buy myself a treat, then I'm being deeply ungrateful for the extra dollars. He sent me coffee money and I freaked out about it. So I'm going to reach out to this guy and be like, you gave me a gift of coffee, and how could you? I'm falling apart now. That sucks. That's so stupid. Unfortunately, I have taken that moment and immortalized it into a video, which I don't think is great either, but so even though protocol is I reach out because 2 hours earlier, an hour earlier, a while earlier, I think it was 2 hours actually, of trying to deal with this on my own, because I don't want to cry fish every time something minor happens, and minor things are going to happen all the time. $7 little coffee is going to happen. Like, that's a good thing. A good thing happened, and I had to cry fish about it because I was freaking out. I can't keep doing that. And yeah, it's 2,000 miles, but until that changes, it's going to be a thing. Like, I don't want to be crying fish when 2,000 miles happens, or when good things happen. I got to figure some of this out on my own, man. So I did what any good self-respecting kitty cat VTuber would do. I put off getting into VR gear, which had been my plan when I got home from all of those errands anyway, and I laid on the floor. I'm really good at laying on the floor. I made a video about it recently when I was feeling like a drama llama and I was laying on the floor for that video, but I lay on the floor all of the time, and usually it's not in like a good way. A lot of the time it's in like the weight of the world is too much and my head won't stop, and I don't even have like the energy to be upright about it. Because if I lay on the floor and just the head is just nuts. It was nuts. And I didn't want to cry fish about it, even though if I had, then fish could be like, it's not a problem. And then immediately everything just dissipates. But I wanted to try and figure this one out on my own, at least a little bit. And eventually it simmered down enough to then I was able to get upright and play a game to like take my mind off things a little bit. And then I reached out anyway, because I'm going to have to come clean about how my day went sooner or later. And then more projection on the way, but I feel like he was probably a little bit like, why wouldn't you say something earlier? And then I was like, I don't know why I didn't say something earlier either. If you figure it out, let me know. Like, I was a nightmare today. And it took about 4 hours, all things told, to get back where I was going to be. This is what I wanted to do when I got done with my bike ride, get into VR, and do this. I had ideas for what to film. It would have been a different video series. I don't know if it would have been as fruitful, but I'm sure we would have learned something different. It would have been really similar. What you have seen so far, this video series, and this longer whatever nonsense, like, this was always going to exist. This was the one thing I really wanted to get done today. The only thing that really happened is I fell down a hole about it, and then was in a hole about it. I just, on the floor, couldn't do it. I was too proud to reach out to my partner who helped instill the protocol that when I feel that way, I reach out, because 4 hours, and he turns that into 5 minutes, a 5-minute phone call, maybe 20 at the most. Like that's good. That's good. That's a relationship going well. And I was too proud to do that. But also I was deeply ashamed to do that because he did something nice and I don't want to have to cry about it, which now I am doing in an entire video. So, that's great. But I wanted to try and sort it out on my own by laying on the floor and feeling it. I see where you're going with that, little buddy, but I think there might be a better way than just crushing me, and then that's me on the floor, like the bottom of the camera. That's where I would be, on the bottom. And then the top, like, rule of thirds is a big thing. So this is like the third, and that would be me. And then the top 2/3, crushing me, like feeling it all of the way, man. That's not a proactive thing. That's a I'm feeling everything and I'm laying on the floor about it thing. Sometimes that's all you can do, but I know that I'm a lot stronger than that. And somewhere along the way, I learned not to go to alcohol when I feel that way. I don't even really go to video games when I feel that way all of the time. I used to, but anything like that, I recognized to be a moment of stasis, where I'm distracting myself with a video game, but then once I'm done distracting myself, I still have to process everything that took place. I'm not actually working through anything when I take my aggression out on the survivors in Dead by Daylight. I'm just putting my emotions on pause, or trying to. But if you've been paying attention the past handful of videos, we unlocked something pretty important, I think. I'm good at manipulating emotions. I do need to caveat this by saying that I didn't want to. I was feeling everything. I was feeling it all. 100. Like, I could not. I didn't want to. It just sucked. And that's the most unfair thing in the entire world, by the way. When your loved one sends you an extra $7 to treat you to a coffee, and what I had wanted to do was get into my creative enterprise and film stuff and edit things, and I was just really excited about that. And then I no longer wanted to because I just got really salty about mainly the long distance thing, and there was projection involved and just all sorts of whatever took place. So my partner did something nice for me, and then I was like, I don't want to anymore. And that's extremely unfair. That's not okay. Especially if we add in the element that not everyone is able to manipulate their emotions in the way that I can and do and enjoy doing. People get something out of my videos. So I chose not to when I was in a prime position to be able to. And some things, like big issues of communication in a relationship, are important to share, like, with a partner first. Those are things that you do phone calls about. There's things that are bitch ass pussy shit to do on your own. There's some things that are appropriate to say to the world and some things which are not. And there's some bundles of emotionality which are safe and silly. $7 and oh my gosh, the world is ending. That's kind of a silly thing. I knew it was silly when I was laying on the floor feeling the weight of everything. It was silly, and I was so ashamed of how silly it was, yet how dramatic I was being about it, that I chose not to reach out to my partner about it, even though that's the protocol we instilled, because I wanted to be able to work through such a silly problem on my own. Yet, I chose not to. There's 2 reasons that I can think of off the top of my head. The first one is just the honest to God, I don't want to. Which is fair. That's just, I was in the pits, I was in the dumps about that, and I had like a lot of like just burn it all to the ground energy. I didn't want, like, everything was the worst, and I was like, fine, I'll mess up all my plans, I'll go get a coffee because then I'll fulfill his end of the thing. And it's like, that would be the worst choice because then I'm messing up my day for sure to get a coffee when it should be a good thing, and like my head was just all over the place. I was seriously locked. But I would say the larger reason why I didn't get in and manipulate the bundle of emotions the way that I can, that no one else can, or that no one else is doing if they can, is that I didn't want to complain or unload what I was feeling on, like, the world That doesn't seem like something useful to do. That just doesn't seem like the energy I want to bring into the stage of the world. I want to add things that are better or beneficial or whatever. I don't want to just get in and vent about the $7 situation. That doesn't seem like a video I would want to watch. That's not an energy I want to inhabit. That's just a bad time. I'm ashamed of feeling that way when I know it's an extremely silly thing to be feeling. The solution was a phone call away. What am I doing? Here's the thing, though. I'm really good at manipulating emotions. It's the only thing I do. It got me a little itty-bitty following, and Discord people that we hang out with, and cool conversations, and confidence, and then it got me a really cool boyfriend. And it's the thing that I love the most, and it's what sets me apart, not only as a furry creator, but as a human person. I'm good at doing the thing I chose not to do. And I kind of realize now that if I could have done that and figured out that moment a little bit better on camera, that doesn't have to be I'm there venting about something that like went horribly today. But that's taking something that I was feeling horrible about, manipulating it, and seeing what happens. I'm good at that. We did that last video. We did that recently. Like, that's what I do. I'm good at that. I love doing that. And for some reason, I didn't want to bring that energy into the world. Thing is, though, what I do is transformative. I could have turned something yucky into something that was kind of cool, or at the very least, if it stays yucky, then you can apply different principles to it and just manipulate it anyway and be like, hey, look, it's still yucky, but look at the thing that I did, you know? You can still do something with it. That would have been something more constructive than just laying on the floor, at least, and I absolutely could have done that. Not wanting to bring something ugly into the world is what held me back from doing the manipulation. But if I have confidence that the ugly thing will no longer be ugly by the end of it, I think we might be onto something there. And if you take the art of manipulation as art itself, then it doesn't matter if it's something ugly or happy. Either way, we're manipulating emotions and seeing what comes out of it. I think all emotion states warrant that kind of examination. I'm just going to theorize for a second here that if I had untangled that, I would have come into projection as a concept in the mind, what it is, how it works, what pitfalls it brings. That's something that I'm really good at. I am Captain Projection. There would have been a projection video. There would have been a long distance video about how long distance relationships are challenging, and this video touched on that, but it probably would have been a whole video and talking about how I've resolved it, but then how it's beneficial and worth it to be in such a long distance relationship anyway, even though the challenges are there, which then has theming about doing something challenging but rewarding and what that process is like. There's a lot of other angles I can think of off the top of my head that probably would have or could have arose if I had addressed that bundle of emotionality earlier. And those are all really cool video ideas. I was really happy when I said those two out loud. I was like, I would watch those. And I gotta be careful with that. I don't want to light on industry. I mentioned that recently too. Is the more I try to apply industry to my creative endeavors, then the worse everything gets. It all falls apart. But it's a little bit true. I would be remiss not to bring it up at least a little bit. Because I don't want any emotion states to interfere with my creative industry. I'm calling it industry. That's a very mechanical word, but sometimes mechanical language can help navigate a messy system. But if I can make a video when I'm happy, or when I'm sad, or if I'm really upset, or if I'm really angry, and I learn how to be able to manipulate all of those emotion states and hone my craft that way, then I can make more content more regularly, be less affected by casual things because I have an outlet, and I can just do my job regardless of what body of emotionality that I'm in. That's what's prudent for me to be able to do as a human, let alone as a creator who wants to be able to make things on a regular basis. So not only could it have been useful to me to process my emotions earlier because I'm good at doing that, and that something ugly doesn't have to stay ugly after I've transformed it, else the act of transforming just the shape of an ugly thing can itself be beautiful. There are so many ways I could have adjusted my situation positively had I made the decision to act. And I would have had videos earlier. And after this, I had wanted to probably get into Resonate because I have a new idea about what I want to work on. And from there, spend time with the fish. But now I'm filming and not spending time with the fish because I laid on the floor for 4 hours instead of doing this 4 hours earlier because I was worried about a lot of things that I would have liked to approach differently. So now let's wrap up everything from the past few videos, over 2 hours of filming at this point, and then I'm still not done filming after this. I'm a little workhorse, baby. Watch me go. I gotta be honest with you. 4 videos ago is forever ago. I don't remember. I think we were touching on I didn't want to start making the video, but like I remembered why making videos is useful to me. And I don't need them anymore. And some of that I think might have to do with like I have a 5-minute phone call with a fish and I'm better, you know? But I can still use videos to manipulate emotionality on my own for myself to see, but how that manipulation can create art and is the thing that sets me apart as a creator. So I missed an opportunity to be the creator that only I can be. And I do not even a little bit remember what I was just saying. I don't know what to tell you. It's been a long day, and I actually got super distracted by when I brought up Resonate just now. I'm like closing this video way too quickly, I think, but it's been long enough. The only thing that I really learned is that yesterday's video, last video, whatever that video was, that I'm really good at manipulating emotionality, and I wasn't doing that when I could have done that, and I would like to be able to do that in the future for simple problems that I know are silly, even though it feels like if I'm in an ugly space, I don't want to make videos. That might be some of the most valuable times for me to make videos, and I learned that, which I only realized that that was something I would learn after making all of the videos up to this point. And that's the end of this video, honestly. It's just gotta go because it's time for this filming session to be done, baby, and time for this video to be done. But there's one more thing I really, really want to talk about. And so the next video, I'm just going to keep on rolling with it, baby. I want to talk about Resonate because I realized something really cool. And I'm so excited to work on it. I was going to start fiddling with it today because I think I had last night, the realization of it, or maybe even just today when I was like doing things. I think it might be that packaging up that package I talked about recently freed up my mind. And I'm just so excited now to move forward. So I want to talk about what my new Resonate idea is. And some of that has to do with the industry of getting people, like if I'm able to do this in, like I'm getting ahead of myself. So the next video, I'll be talking a little bit more about Resonate and my ideas of that, and then how that kind of relates to everything I have brought up so far a bit. Oh my gosh, because I don't like applying industry to the things that I do, but there is an industry here, and being honest about that is honest, and I want to be honest. And it's also just really fun to talk about, and it's been a really long day. So I want to just talk about something that I want to talk about. Gosh dang it. So I'm going to go do that. That's what the next video is going to be for you good people at home. And so I'm going to walk out of frame. But I hope that you enjoyed this video because I put a lot into it, if you couldn't tell. Because I try to do everything I can with a lot of me in it because that just makes life a better place. Talk to you guys later.